Hi, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on secure access for the workforce in the AI era. I'm Josh Lanier, an advanced identity global black belt here at Microsoft, along with my colleague Sanjay Shah. This webinar is part of our Microsoft Entra Access Priority series. A quick reminder that you will be able to catch up on earlier sessions. Every webinar is recorded and available on demand at the link on this slide. For the sessions coming up next, we hope you will join us live, use the RSVP link to save your spot, and bring your questions. Our product experts answer questions live in the chat. And if you are watching this session live right now, feel free to ask any questions at any time. Our team is here and ready to help. In today's AI landscape, AI-driven phishing is now 4.5 times more effective. Most organizations face fragmentations for their identities and network access among several vendors in silos. These blind spots matter. Identity and network access not working together leads to gaps in visibility and risks. And with 100 trillion signals processed daily, at the end of the day, securing AI isn't about adding more tools. It's about breaking down these silos and aligning identity and network access to close the gaps and stay ahead of attackers. With those signals that we've been processing, we see a 32% increase in identity attacks, an increase in AI-driven attacks, and then tool fragmentation, increasing that risk. Entra Suite is here to help your teams seamlessly unify their identity and network security strategy with the Microsoft Entra Suite. The suite is a comprehensive family of products that secures access for any identity from anywhere to any application or resource across your digital estate, on premises and across clouds. This means securing access for your employees, customers, partners, or digital workloads to resources such as modern SaaS apps and legacy on-premises servers and file shares. And it means protecting access to resources, whether those access requests come from within your corporate network or over the open internet. This enables new powerful capabilities. First, we're going to look at how we can extend continuous access evaluation to any application. This means that for any app or resource, say for instance, a change in access conditions, such as the location, we will immediately revoke an active user session without any delay or requiring any action from identity or security operation teams. Next, it extends your conditional access to web traffic, legacy on-premises resources, and cloud apps that aren't yet integrated into your single sign-on. For example, shadow IT applications. And with this, conditional access itself is much richer. We've added new conditions such as compliant network, which only allows access requests from your network to go through. We added new resource types such as on-premises apps and web traffic, and we enabled new controls, including the ability to restrict or monitor access with conditional access. While this solution has many benefits, I'd like to highlight the top 4. It unifies the access policy engine across your identity, endpoints, and networks. It enforces least privilege access for all users to any app or resource, including AI models. It simplifies the user experience for accessing any resource from anywhere, and it modernizes your security, retiring legacy tools like your traditional firewalls and VPNs. And now over to Sanjay to show what this looks like.
Thanks, Josh. Hi all, my name is Sanjay Shah. I'm part of Advanced Identity Global Black Belt team. I'm going to go over how all of this works end to end. So over here in the screen, you see there are 4 major stages. First, we need to onboard users into the environment. Then we need to govern their access. With governing access, we look, for example, at automation, both in provisioning access as well as removing access that users no longer need, but also provisioning self-service capabilities so that users easily and quickly request access as they need. Thirdly, we need to secure that access to any resource. Here's where the power of unifying access control with Security Service Edge come into play. Here we look at using adaptive risk-based policy as well as providing secure tunnel to any resource, including AI, regardless of where it's hosting across internet or over on-prem. During these stages, the ongoing auditing and reporting is key so that you stay in control of your environment. Let's dive into some key scenarios the Microsoft Entra Suite enables. You are about to see three demos that fellow Luis, who has just moved roles within his company Java and is now the director of sales. Each scenario will highlight a different way the Microsoft Entra Suite secures access and empowers both users and managers. Over to you, Josh.
Thanks, Sanjay. Before we get started, let's dive into some more details. First, let's look at setting automated least privilege control across the entire workforce cycle using entitlement management. You can automate the identity and access lifecycle for all your employees from the day they join through every role change until the day they exit. Entitlement management helps prevent lateral movement by ensuring that your employees have the right level of access to just the right applications and that resources they need. Lifecycle workflows automate core identity processes. When someone joins, they get the groups, information, and applications they need on day one. When their role changes, lifecycle workflow adjusts access. When they exit, their permissions are removed right away. Without proper governance, permissions build up over time. That is why regular access reviews matter. Entra automates these reviews to recertify access, enforce policies, and remove what is no longer needed. Machine learning helps reduce reviewer fatigue. You can use decision helpers to flag users who have not signed in recently or understand a user's relationship to others in a group when deciding whether to approve or deny access. So we have Luis, who has a new job. He will probably need access to new resources, but we want to make sure it's the right access at the right time in the right way. The concept is least privilege access. Let me show you how the Microsoft Entra Suite makes this possible. As we know, Luis recently took a new job as director of sales at Zava. One of his first tasks is he's jumping right in to complete a quarterly sales report. To do so, he wants to use ChatGPT, but when he goes to access ChatGPT, he sees that he doesn't have access. Now, Luis knows that access requests and reviews at Zava are managed through the My Access portal. He opens up the portal and goes to Access Packages and looks up the AI access package he needs to request. He completes the justification and submits his request. It gets routed to his manager, Mona. Now let's look at this from Mona's computer now. Mona also uses My Access portal to review Luis's request and approve it. While she's there, Mona also thinks of some other access that Luis is going to need. So she uses a new feature called On Behalf of, which lets Mona request additional access on behalf of Luis or anyone on her team. In this case, Mona knows that Luis will need access to some additional tools like SAP. So she files an on behalf request for him. And since Mona is both the requester and the approver, Luis automatically gets access. Another exciting update that I want to mention is if Mona ever wants to review Luis's access or anyone else on her team, she can do so with the recently released user-centric access reviews. So in addition to app-centric and resource-centric access reviews, reviewers can now look at the business critical resources like apps and groups that a user has access to and to make decisions at the per user level. Now, if we go back to Luis's screen, he now has access to ChatGPT. Now that we've looked at the user side, what did it take to implement some of these controls? Let's look at how the Zava admins configured user-centric access reviews. Over to Sanjay to show how he did it in the Entra portal.
Thanks, Josh. So now let's look at how you can set it up in admin portal. So we can start by going into ID governance and selecting access reviews. Here you can see all the access reviews that have already been created for Zava. Now we are going to create a new access review. There are two templates available. One, a resource centric review focused on a single resource, like an access package, app, team, or group, or a user centric that focuses on a catalog of business critical apps a user have access to. We are going to pick that one. We'll pick a new user centric access review and configure some basics. Give the review a name, choose the user in scope. For this example, we are using Java Sales Team. Next, we pick the catalog that contains those business critical applications. And as we saw earlier, we are setting this one up for sales resources. I'll set managers of user as the final reviewers and schedule this review quarterly. That way, managers aren't overwhelmed and we still validate access regularly. Another thing I want to point out here is that user group affiliation checkbox. It uses AI to recommend whether access should be approved or denied by looking at peers within a group and what access they have. We can even allow the system to apply this recommendation automatically if a review isn't completed. So if Mona forgets to finish her review, AI will step in and make the decision. And that's it. We have quickly created a user centric access review, giving us full visibility into all business critical apps a user can access. Now that we have seen how user centric access reviews work, I also would like to touch on another exciting innovation in Entra Suite, risk-based approvals. This new capability brings together ID governance, ID protection, risk scores, and purview, insider risk management as another layer in Access Fabric's safety net to help ensure that people with elevated risks are prevented from accessing higher sensitive resources. From ID governance tab, I'll circle on entitlement management and go to control configuration. On the right, you will notice the new risk-based approval window. Let's click View Settings. Here we have two options: require approval for users with insider risk and require approval for users with ID protection risk, which includes user or sign-in risk. When either of this is configured, it inserts a mandatory approval step before routing to the standard access package approval chain as configured on the access package. This ensures that users with moderate to high risk users go through extra scrutiny before getting access to resources. And that's it. A few more tools to help ensure that the right people have only the right access at the right time. Now, over to Jas for another set of use case.
Thanks, Sanjay. So just to recap what we learned, with Entra Suite, least privilege isn't just a checkbox. It's built into every step. Entitlement management streamlines the access so people get exactly what they need when they need it. Managers like Mona can now request access for their teams directly, keeping things fast and accountable. User-centric access reviews make it easy to keep permissions tight as teams evolve. And with integrated risk controls, higher risk requests get that extra scrutiny, combining governance with adaptive protection. All of this means access governance is automated, risk is reduced, and our organization stays secure and agile. Now let's talk secure access to AI. Next, we extend these least privilege controls to the network side as well. And this is where continuous access evaluation, or CAE, comes in. CAE ensures access decisions are dynamic and adapt in near real time to changes in user risk, device compliance, or session context. For example, if a user's risk level spikes or a device falls out of compliance, CAE can immediately revoke or restrict access without waiting for token expiration. This capability strengthens zero trust and now applies not only to SaaS apps, but also to network traffic through our SASE solution. Microsoft Entra Internet Access is an identity-centric Secure Web Gateway, or SWG, for SaaS apps and internet traffic that extends conditional access policies to protect against malicious internet traffic, unsafe or non-compliant content, and other threats from the open internet. For example, you can block access to all external destinations for high-risk users or non-compliant devices, except the limited URLs needed for recovery. Microsoft Entra Private Access is a complete identity-centric zero trust network access, or ZTNA, solution that uses the same application connectors but goes further to simplify and secure access to any private resource, port, or protocol. By combining CAE with these services, organizations gain real-time enforcement of conditional access policies across SaaS, internet, and private resources, delivering a unified identity-driven approach to SASE. Together, internet access and private access, coupled with our SaaS security-focused CASB, Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, comprise Microsoft's identity-centric SASE solution. And now we can extend these same protections to how your workforce interacts with AI. The Secure Web and AI Gateway is the only platform that brings together identity context, network controls, and AI protection in one place. It lets you see who is accessing AI tools, what data they are sending, and whether that activity is safe. With this gateway, you can automatically detect malicious prompts, unsafe content, and shadow AI usage. You also get deep visibility into the Gen AI applications that your employees are using, whether they are approved tools like Copilot, Studio, any public AI model, or any AI agent. This gives you the guardrails you need to keep employees productive while preventing sensitive data from leaking into external AI models. It also protects your organization from prompt injection threats and unsafe responses that could lead to manipulation or data loss. Now let's look at how this works in practice and walk through a real example of securing access to AI. We've given Luis access to his resources and an AI assistant. We have least privilege established, but as we talked about earlier, AI cuts both ways. It can help you, but criminals are also using it to hurt companies like Zava. How do you keep the enterprise protected with AI in the picture? It's the same idea. It's around an access fabric, only we apply it to AI. Let's take a look. Now that Luis has access to ChatGPT, he wants to use it to analyze some customer data and upload a sales report. He goes to upload the report and it gets blocked. Network file filtering with Purview automatically scans the file for sensitive content. It sees PII in the file and it blocks the upload. This helps ensure safe AI adoption without accidental data leakage to a public AI tool like ChatGPT. Now that Luis knows better than to use ChatGPT with his data, he opens up his internal AI tool, Zava Assistant, to complete his analysis. With that done, Luis's next step is to review the sales report that his predecessor completed last quarter before moving to a competitor. So Luis copies the document into Zava Assistant and asks it to summarize the document. Here you'll see the prompt was blocked. Microsoft Entra Suite's Secure Web and AI Gateway detected the hidden threat and blocked it before we could reach the AI model. Luis receives a notification that the command was blocked for security reasons. Unbeknownst to him, the previous director who went to a competitor left a hidden prompt injection in the document. In this case, the malicious instructions embedded in the text were designed for data exfiltration, sending sales information from Zava to the former employee's new company. Luis removes the prompt injection script and is able to complete his report summary without risking data loss. Next, Luis wants to create some dashboards with the customer data. He remembers a cool connector that specializes in generating rich visualizations, tables, dashboards, and charts. Like most employees would, Luis assumes it's harmless, just another analytics tool, but doesn't realize it's unsanctioned and poses a security risk for data exfiltration. As soon as the AI assistant tries to connect, an unsanctioned MCP server is detected, so the attempt is blocked, preventing data exposure to external services. Throughout these steps, Luis is guided on how to safely use AI experiences, and Zava remains protected. Now, let's look at what was done to enable this experience. Over to you, Sanjay, for the admin experience.
Thanks, Josh. Let's look at again how you set it up in admin portal. Here you can see back in admin center, we are going to click on GSA, Global Secure Access, and open up traffic forwarding. As you can see, we are forwarding all Java traffic to Global Secure Access. That includes internet, private, and Microsoft traffic. Java is already forwarding all the traffic to GSA service because it replaces legacy tools and improves security and visibility with adaptive, identity-centric control. We'll go to Application Insight and Analytics. As you can see here, we have granular visibility into all resources that are being accessed across the organization. We can even filter to get specific information on Gen AI application use, including Seto AI. And once you know about the risk, you can do something about it. This is exactly what Java admins have done, which enable Luis's experience. Let's look at that. Now, under Secure, we'll review our web content filtering policy. We want to now make sure our baseline block and allow policies are extended to MCP servers. Now, let's look at our security profiles. We have two new policies that help secure Luis's access to AI. First, a prompt injection policy. Prompt injection protection inspect network AI traffic inline without requiring changes to the AI app themselves and blocks malicious prompts before it reaches the AI models. When Luis uploaded a report within a hidden prompt injection, the gateway intercepted and blocked it in real time, protecting both the user and the organization from data exfiltration and manipulation. Then we have our new network file filtering policy with Purview. Java can make sure all file types uploaded to AI apps are not at risk of sharing sensitive data. This is the policy that kept customer PII safe when Luis tried to upload it to ChatGPT. The upload was blocked and he received a clear notification with a guidance. And this access is also secured by a conditional access policy. This is one of the cool ways that identity and network access comes together to deliver stronger and more comprehensive protections. In this case, if a user has elevated risk, access can reduce and revoke until the risk is resolved. And this protection and visibilities aren't limited to just user interaction, they extend to AI agent as well. Let's take a look at how this is captured in GSA logs. As we saw in the end user demo that Josh showed us, when Luis's AI assistant agent tried to connect to an external unsectioned MCP server, the AI gateway steps in, detecting the unsectioned connection attempt and blocking it instantly, preventing any data exposure to unapproved services. And this is all tracked in logs where further investigation is needed. As we just saw in the demos, these protections give you real control over AI usage in your organization. And it's worth emphasizing, for CISOs, the number one concern is Seto AI and the lack of visibility into how AI tools are being used. MCP is the biggest enabler and also is the biggest threat factor. What you've seen here with access control at the network layer is your safety net. With these capabilities, you finally have the visibility and governance needed to keep AI adoption secure, compliant, and under control. Together, all these steps deliver seamless, secure access to AI for every employee while keeping data protected and usage compliant. Now over to Jazz for another use case around modernizing access to all the resources.
Thanks, Sanjay. Before we wrap up our demos for today, I think we should all look at how we go and modernize access to all of our applications. Entra Suite can help us with that, and I'll show you how. I'll also give insights on how to do self service recovery in a secure way, as this has been raised in multiple customer conversations. So, for our last demo, we're going to go traveling with Luis, who is abroad to meet with customers. We're going to look at how Entra Suite helps Luis access the on premises resources he needs while traveling. Luis needs to access a sales resource that is hosted on premises and requires a remote desktop app on his company managed device. There's no VPN client installed because he doesn't need one. His device is running the Global Secure Access or GSA client, which enables zero trust network access to resources. He tries to establish a connection to the remote desktop and is prompted to sign in to Global Secure Access before doing so. After that, to connect to the on-prem server, Luis is prompted to present his passkey via the Authenticator app. Phishing-resistant MFA, such as passkeys, is essential for protecting access in today's environment. During his session, Luis's activity is continuously monitored and protected by our Universal Continuous Access Evaluation, which enforces access policies in real time, and if there is a deviation, can immediately revoke access. Once Luis has access to his remote desktop, he opens his My Apps portal and selects the internal sales dashboard. Running in the background, this experience is optimized by a feature called Intelligent Local Access, another recently released feature. With this, Luis gets the benefit of optimized network performance, while Zava admins have confidence that application traffic is kept local and security posture is maintained. Now over to Sanjay to see how this was configured in the admin portal.
In our last demo, we routed user traffic to Global Secure Access client for improved visibility and policy controls. This also means you don't need to rely on legacy VPNs. Let me show you how we can secure the on-prem sales dashboard that Luis is needed to access. In the admin center here is the file share we are securing. We started by applying a conditional access policies. Like we mentioned earlier, conditional access works by evaluating the context of each signing intent and enforcing the appropriate policy based on the condition you specify. And this is strengthened by extending the signals not only at the identity level, but at the network level as well. In the target resource, we have included the on-prem RDP dashboard and file share that Luis needed to access. Here you can see the grant factors, the rules that governs when a user is granted access. It is set to require a compliant device and phishing-resistant MFA, which is what we saw in the earlier demo with Luis. With these controls, we can make sure only the right people get access to sensitive resources like the sales dashboard. What happens to users with elevated risk? Previously, the user account would get locked down. Now, let's talk about another exciting capability we announced recently at Ignite: automatic remediation across all authentication methods. This lets users present a passkey to self-remediate without needing admin support. The risk-based access policy covers all resources and makes sure that if user risk is elevated, for example, if a session is hijacked, the policy automatically revokes risky sessions and prompts user to re-authenticate with secure passwordless methods. This can be done completely by the end user without needing to go through a help desk. Now over to Josh for another awesome feature.
Thanks, Sanjay. Passkeys are great for strengthening access, but what happens if someone loses access to them? Devices break, they get lost, and sometimes users end up locked out of every authentication method at once. But before we jump into account recovery, let's do a quick refresher on Microsoft Entra Verified ID and how it helps address this. Verified ID gives each user a trusted, user owned credential that proves key identity attributes. It becomes the foundation of trust that you can use across the entire identity lifecycle. And when you layer face check on top, you get high assurance verification in seconds using a live selfie matched to the photos stored in the user's verified ID. That extra assurance is what enables safer onboarding, safer access decisions, and safer resets. There are three main use cases where this matters the most. During onboarding, you can verify the identity and qualifications of new hires in minutes, not days. A validated verified ID gives you confidence that the right person is joining your organization from wherever they are without relying on manual proofing. Access to resources. Verified ID helps restrict access to sensitive apps and data to only trusted users who meet specific criteria. It reduces impersonation risk and raises the bar for approvals, especially in scenarios where stronger assurance is needed. Help desk and recovery. This is where it all comes together for today's topic. Verified ID and face check give you a secure way for users to prove who they are before performing high-risk actions. That includes recovering access when someone loses their passkey or can't authenticate. So with that context in mind, let's jump into the demo and look at how Entra Suite uses verified ID and face check to enable secure self-service account recovery. Whether it's a lost phone or device failure, users want to know they've got a path back to productivity, one that's fast and not too painful. And admins want it to be secure. Another new feature that was just released is self-service account recovery with verified ID. When Luis's device broke, he lost access to his passkey. He's got a new device, and now he needs to start the self-service account recovery process straight from the login experience. Let's see how that looks for Luis. Now, Luis can recover his account even if all authentication methods are lost without needing to call the help desk. He just needs his government ID and a quick face check with Entra Verified ID to begin his self-service account recovery. This process, configured by Zava, will lead Luis through the right steps. To begin the process, Luis is asked to upload a photo of his government-issued ID as an official form of documentation. A third-party verification partner selected by Zava will verify this document, confirming it is legitimate. Then Luis is asked to complete a face check. Verified ID matches his real-time selfie with the photo on his trusted credential he just uploaded. It verifies the match and transmits the results, the likelihood of that match, to Zava. Luis's biometric information is never shared, protecting Luis's privacy while ensuring that only he can restore access. In an era of rising impersonation attacks, knowing it is the right person trying to gain access is more important than ever. And this feature can be used for more than just account recovery. We increasingly see organizations using face check for transactions that require high assurance. And now that he's confirmed his identity, Luis receives a temporary access passcode to restore his account. Luis can go back into the login screen, and within minutes from the start of the recovery process, Luis's passkey is restored, and he's back to work without downtime or help desk delays. And now over to Sanjay to show us how easy it is to configure this in the admin portal. Over to you, Sanjay.
Thanks, Josh. Just like other use cases, we can manage verified ID in admin portal as well. An admin starts by selecting a specific group or groups of eligible users for account recovery. In this case, it was Java sales team. Next, they must choose a preferred identity verification partner or partners. You can see the full list available partners in the Microsoft Security Store. Again, the way this works is that selected identity verification partner confirms the trusted credential, and then Entra Verified ID's face checks, takes the selfie, and compares biometrics to return a numerical value for how well the selfie matches the trusted credentials. This threshold for acceptance can also be configured by admin. By implementing a secure self-service recovery option, you not only protect your organization but also empower your users. With just a few simple steps, you can significantly reduce the burden on your help desk and enhance overall security. To recap, we have just seen how modernizing access, replacing legacy VPNs, enabling passwordless remediation, and empowering users with self-service account recovery can transform security and productivity for everybody. To summarize, we looked at three critical scenarios that the Microsoft Entra Suite can enable for your organization. And we have had a great number of customers worldwide validating these scenarios and leveraging Suite to accelerate their zero trust journey. One of them is Microsoft IT. Let's take a look at their journey with the Microsoft Entra Suite. Handing back to Josh now.
Thanks, Sanjay. In phase 0, Microsoft established a strong identity foundation and built up their identity governance and lifecycle workflow strategy by displacing SimPoint with Microsoft Entra ID governance. Next, the team scaled global secure access to 150,000 users and 250,000 devices, modernizing network access for private, internet, and SaaS resources. Lastly, Microsoft operationalized conditional access and multi-factor authentication, replacing legacy VPNs with identity-centric zero-trust network access and protecting against internet threats with an identity-centric secure web gateway. This transformation is not just about technology. It is about enabling secure, seamless access for employees everywhere, while reducing complexity and cost. For example, Microsoft accelerated the rollout of private access, quick access, to replace legacy VPNs and began deprecating physical network equipment, saving substantial capital and license fees. Microsoft's journey demonstrates how Entra Suite can modernize security, streamline operations, and deliver real business value at a massive scale. I want to wrap up where we began. The goal is to be ready to secure access in the age of AI. Being ready means identity and network signals must work together so every access decision is informed by real context across users, devices, apps, networks, and AI. We are in a moment where identities are exploding across humans, machines, and agents. AI is accelerating both productivity and risk. That puts access security at the center of everything. Securing access should be top of mind for all of us because it is the only way to stay ahead of attackers, protect data, and keep our workforce and AI experiences safe. The Microsoft Entra Suite is built for this reality. It unifies identity protection, network enforcement, and AI-aware safeguards into a single access fabric that acts as your safety net. It helps you detect threats earlier, respond faster, and give your employees and AI agents secure, productive access from everywhere. Being ready means modernizing now, not later, so your organization stays secure, resilient, and confident in the age of AI. I'll quickly highlight a few Entra resources. Check out our identity blog and Joy's newly released 2026 priorities blog. And as a reminder, there are 2 more sessions in this webinar series covering securing agents and making sure your admins are more productive with agents in Entra. Hope to see you there. On behalf of Sanjay and I, thank you for attending today's webinar.